What are the symptoms of the authoritarian personality? Hi, my name is Keegan and I talk about the psychology of politics. Tell me if you see a link between MAGA and the following symptoms. Submission to authority. Aggression against perceived enemies of that authority. Support for traditional values. Mental rigidity and a proclivity to engage in stereotypical thinking. A preoccupation with toughness and power. In other words, they fear being seen as weak. Cynicism about human nature. In other words, they think humans are bad, degenerate, and sinners. Sexual inhibition. That's a biggie. In other words, they're just weird about sex. A reluctance to engage in introspection. In other words, they lack self-awareness because they avoid self-reflection. And a tendency to project undesirable qualities onto others. In other words, they project what they don't like about themselves onto other people. The source on this is the groundbreaking book, The Authoritarian Personality. It's gotta be the most cited work I've ever seen in political psychology. While it came out all the way back in 1950, it holds up remarkably well, doesn't it? In fact, the leading researcher on the authoritarian personality today, his name is Bob Altmaier, he uses the first 3 symptoms that I listed as his 3 necessary conditions for having an authoritarian personality. And all the other symptoms have been backed up by subsequent research.